The first sign something was wrong came from my cat. Shadow never hisses at nothing, and that morning she sat frozen in my hallway, fur raised, eyes fixed on what looked like an innocent smoke detector. I'm Lexus, and I used to think I was just being paranoid. Growing up with a sister like Ivy does that to you. Makes you second guess everything. Wonder if you're the crazy one. But Shadow knew better than I did. Come look at this, I said into my phone, pacing beneath the suspicious device. My best friend Zane's voice crackled through the speaker. The lights blinking weird? Yeah, and Shadow's acting strange. Could you just, I don't know, swing by after work? I know it sounds stupid. It's not stupid, Zane cut me off. I'll be there in an hour. I tried to focus on work, but my eyes kept drifting to that blinking light. Years of Ivy's mind games had taught me to trust my instincts, like the time my diary mysteriously ended up in my high school's gossip blog, or when my college application essays accidentally got deleted from the family computer. The doorbell rang at 6:15. Zane didn't waste time with pleasantries, pulling out a small device that looked like a TV remote. RF detector, he explained, sweeping it around the room. The device stayed quiet until we reached the smoke detector. Then it screamed. Holy shit, I whispered as Zane carefully removed the cover. Inside, nested among the actual smoke detector components, was a tiny camera. There might be more, he said grimly. Let me check the whole place. We found three more. One in my bedroom disguised as a wall outlet, another in my home office inside a phone charger, and one in my living room hidden in a decorative wall clock. The clock had been a housewarming gift. From Ivy. My hands shook as I sank onto my couch. I knew she was obsessed with controlling my life, but this, we should call the police, Zane said, laying out the cameras on my coffee table. I laughed bitterly. And tell them what? That my perfect, successful sister, the one who runs charity galas and has mom and dad wrapped around her finger, is secretly spying on me? They'll think I'm crazy. Lexus. Zane sat beside me. This is illegal. It's stalking. You don't know Ivy like I do. She'll twist it somehow, make me look paranoid. She always does. My phone buzzed. Speak of the devil. A text from Ivy? Coming to Mom and Dad's for dinner tomorrow night? Mom's making your favorite. I showed Zane the text. See, she's watching right now, probably laughing about how long it took me to figure it out. Then let's give her something to watch, Zane said, a slow smile spreading across his face. You know those cameras are two-way, right? They store footage somewhere. If we trace the signal, I sat up straighter. We could find out what else she's recording, who else she's watching. Exactly. Zane pulled out his laptop, and then we can beat her at her own game. I thought about all the years of subtle manipulation, the way Ivy would undermine my confidence while maintaining her angelic public image, the accidental revelations of my secrets, the sabotaged relationships, the constant feeling of being watched and judged. Do it, I said. Show me how to fight back. As Zane typed away, my phone buzzed again. This time it was my cousin Jayla. Hey, need to talk to you about Ivy. It's important. I showed Zane the message. Looks like we're not the only ones onto her games. Perfect timing, he said. We'll need allies. I glanced at the dismantled cameras on my table, thinking about how long Ivy had been watching me, gathering ammunition for her next move. But this time would be different. This time, I wasn't her helpless little sister anymore. Tomorrow at dinner, I said, I'll act normal. Let her think she still has the upper hand. While we work on turning her surveillance against her, Zane finished. You know this might get ugly, right? I thought about Shadow, still glaring at the spot where the first camera had been. Sometimes animals see things more clearly than humans do. They know when something's wrong, when it's time to stop running and start fighting back. It's been ugly for years, I said. The difference is, now I'm done playing by her rules. Zane packed up the cameras in an evidence bag, promising to analyze them properly at his place. As he left, he turned back with a serious expression. Lexus, whatever we find, whatever we do next, are you sure you're ready? I thought about tomorrow's dinner, about facing Ivy across our mother's table, about finally having proof I wasn't crazy all these years. I'm ready, I said. It's time Ivy learned what it feels like to be watched. Your sister's been busy, Zane said, spinning his laptop around to show me. These cameras have been streaming to a private server for months. She's got everything categorized by date. I leaned closer, my stomach churning as I scrolled through folder after folder of my private moments. She's been watching me sleep, having breakfast, working out. The good news is, Zane continued, typing rapidly, her security isn't great. She probably thought no one would ever find the cameras, let alone trace them back. My cousin Jayla sat on my other side, her face grim. We'd met for coffee earlier, and she'd dropped a bombshell. Ivy had pulled similar stunts with other family members. Remember when Uncle Mike's business almost went under? Jayla said, picking at her coffee sleeve. Those anonymous tips to the IRS? That was Ivy. I found emails about it on her laptop when she asked me to help with her website. Jesus, I muttered. Why didn't you say anything? Would anyone have believed me? Besides, she caught me looking. Threatened to tell everyone about. Jayla paused, swallowing hard. Let's just say she's good at collecting secrets. Zane's fingers flew across the keyboard. Well, she's about to learn about karma. Look at this. She's got her own cameras set up in her house, too. Probably to make sure her boyfriend Liam doesn't step out of line. Can you access those feeds? I asked. Already done, but we need to be smart about this. If we're going to expose her, we need ironclad evidence that can't be explained away. My phone buzzed. Another text from Ivy. Missed you at dinner last night. Everything okay, little sis? You seem distant lately. God, I hate how she does that, I said, acting all concerned while she's literally spying on me. Perfect, Zane said. Keep engaging with her. Make her think you're clueless. Meanwhile, he pulled up another window, showing a live feed from Ivy's living room. She was pacing, phone in hand, perfectly put together as always. We start gathering our own evidence, he finished. Jayla leaned forward. I can help. She's planning this huge birthday party next month. Rented out the entire rooftop at the Grand. She's going to announce her engagement to Liam. I raised my eyebrows. Liam proposed? Not yet. Jayla smiled wickedly. But according to her calendar, he will. She's got it all planned out, down to the exact minute. Of course she does, I said. Everything has to be perfect in Ivy's world, which makes it the perfect time to show everyone who she really is, Zane added. But we need to be careful. One wrong move and she'll spin it around on you. I watched the feed of Ivy in her living room, remembering all the times she'd made me doubt myself, question my own sanity. Then we'll be smarter than her. Jayla, can you get me into that party planning committee she's so proud of? Already on it. She's been begging me to help coordinate. Good. I turned to Zane. How long would it take to put together a video? Something that shows exactly what she's been doing? With all this footage? He gestured at his screen. A week, maybe less, but we need something recent, something she can't dismiss as old or out of context. I pulled out my phone and typed a reply to Ivy. Sorry, been super busy, but I'd love to help with party planning. Jayla mentioned you might need an extra hand. The response was immediate. OMG, yes. Come over tomorrow. We can catch up properly. I showed the others. There's our chance. Zane, can you set me up with something to record? He reached into his bag and pulled out what looked like a normal pendant necklace. Camera and mic, totally undetectable. Just don't get it wet. Perfect. I slipped it on, then turned to Jayla. You're sure about this? She'll come after you too when it all comes out. Jayla's face hardened. Let her try. I'm done being scared of her. Okay then. I looked at the feed one last time, watching my sister arrange flowers in her perfect house, planning her perfect party, completely unaware that her perfect world was about to crumble. Tomorrow, we start gathering ammunition. By the time her birthday party rolls around, she won't know what hit her. Zane finished. I touched the pendant, thinking about all the cameras Ivy had hidden in my home, all the private moments she'd stolen from me. No more hiding, I said. No more playing the victim. Tomorrow we start fighting back. To Karma, Jayla raised her coffee cup. To Karma, Zane and I echoed. On the screen, Ivy was still arranging her flowers, smiling that perfect smile, probably already planning how to manipulate her next victim. But her time was running out. She just didn't know it yet. Mom, these potatoes are amazing, Ivy gushed, reaching across the dinner table to squeeze our mother's hand. You'll have to give me the recipe for when Liam and I have our own family dinners. I forced myself to keep eating, the pendant feeling heavy against my chest. Through the whole meal, I'd watched Ivy perform her usual routine. The perfect daughter, the successful sister, the bride-to-be who didn't even have a ring yet. Speaking of Liam, Mom said, when are you bringing him around again? We barely see him anymore. A flash of something crossed Ivy's face, so quick I would have missed it if I hadn't been watching for it. Oh, he's just so busy with work, but he'll definitely be at my birthday party. Won't you all be there? Wouldn't miss it, Princess, Dad said, and I caught the slight frown that appeared when Ivy wasn't looking his way. Maybe he was finally starting to see through her act. Lexus has been helping with the planning, Ivy announced. Haven't you, sis? She's been such a wonderful help. The way she emphasized wonderful made my skin crawl. I knew what she was doing, setting up her next move, whatever it was. Just doing what sisters do, I replied, matching her sweet tone. Under the table, my phone buzzed. A text from Zane. Got something. Big. Call me ASAP. Actually, I said, standing up, I should get going. Early meeting tomorrow. But you haven't had dessert, Mom protested. I made your favorite chocolate cake. Let her go, Mom, Ivy said smoothly. Some of us have to work harder than others to get ahead. There it was, the subtle dig, the kind she'd perfected over years. I caught Dad's frown deepening. In the driveway, Jayla caught up with me. Wait, she whispered, pressing a USB drive into my hand. Found this in her home office yesterday. You need to see it. What is it? Evidence. She's been... Jayla stopped as the front door opened. Leaving so soon? Ivy called out, her heels clicking on the pavement. We barely got to talk about the party arrangements. I'll call you tomorrow, I said, gripping the USB drive tightly. Ivy's eyes flickered to my closed fist, then back to my face. Perfect. Oh, and Jayla, thanks for all your help with the planning. You're such a dear cousin. The threat in her voice was clear. As soon as she turned back to the house, Jayla whispered, Be careful with that. She'll know it's missing soon. I drove straight to Zane's place, my heart pounding. He opened the door before I could knock. You're not gonna believe this, he said, pulling me inside. His living room was a mess of computers and cables. Remember those emails Jayla mentioned? About Uncle Mike? Yeah, that was just the beginning. Look, he pulled up a series of documents on his main screen. Your sister's been running a whole operation. She finds people's secrets, their weaknesses, and she exploits them. Not just family, colleagues, friends, anyone she thinks might get in her way. I pulled out the USB drive. Jayla just gave me this, said it was important. Zane plugged it in, and more files populated his screen. Holy shit, he breathed. These are her plans. Detailed strategies for manipulating people. Look, there's one about you. My stomach lurched as I read the document titled Lexus Containment Strategy. It laid out every insecurity, every weakness she'd identified, every way she planned to keep me under her control. There's more, Zane said quietly. She's got something big planned for her birthday party, some kind of announcement that's supposed to destroy you professionally. How? Not sure yet, but he stopped as my phone rang. Ivy's name flashed on the screen. Put it on speaker, Zane mouthed. Hey, sis, I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. Just wanted to check on you, Ivy said sweetly. You seemed a bit off at dinner. Is everything okay at work? I heard some rumors. Everything's fine, I said. Just busy. Well, if you need anything. After all, what are big sisters for? She paused. Oh, and Lexus? Have you seen my silver USB drive? I seem to have misplaced it. My blood ran cold. No, sorry, haven't seen it. Well, if you do, let me know right away. It has some sensitive work documents on it. Another pause. Wouldn't want those falling into the wrong hands. After she hung up, I looked at Zane. She knows. Good, he said, already copying the USB's contents. Let her know. Let her worry, because this time she's not the only one with a plan. I touched the pendant, still recording, and thought about the detailed strategy she'd written about me. Two can play at containment, I said, and her birthday party just became ground zero. Play it again, I said, staring at Zane's computer screen. We'd been reviewing the files from Ivy's USB drive for hours, and each revelation hit harder than the last. Zane clicked play, and Ivy's voice filled the room. Liam, honey, you know I hate doing this, but those messages to your ex, what would the board think if they saw them? You know how important your reputation is for the merger. That's straight up blackmail, Jayla said, pacing behind us. Poor Liam doesn't even realize he's being manipulated into proposing. It gets worse, Zane said, pulling up another file. Look at these emails to your boss, Lexus. She's been laying groundwork for months. Subtle hints about your mental health issues and family concerns that might affect your work performance. My hands clenched into fists. That's why I got passed over for the promotion last month. She's been poisoning the well. A knock at the door made us all jump. Zane checked his security camera feed. It's Liam. What? Did you tell him to come? No, but... Zane hesitated. I may have sent him some anonymous screenshots yesterday. Thought he deserved to know what he's getting into. I opened the door to find Liam looking worse than I'd ever seen him. His usually perfect suit was wrinkled, his hair disheveled. Is it true? He asked, pushing past me into the apartment. All of it? The manipulation, the blackmail, the... He stopped when he saw the screens. Oh God, it is. Sit down, Jayla said gently. There's more you need to see. We showed him everything. The surveillance footage, the emails, the carefully documented plans for their future together. With each revelation, Liam seemed to shrink further into himself. The proposal next week, he said quietly. At her birthday party. She's been pushing so hard for it, dropping hints about the perfect ring, the perfect moment. She's got it all scripted, I confirmed, right down to which knee you should bend. I'm such an idiot, he muttered. No, Jayla said firmly. You're a victim, like the rest of us. But now you can help us stop her. Liam looked up. How? Zane outlined our plan for the birthday party. As he spoke, my phone buzzed with a text from Ivy. Found my USB. No worries. See you tomorrow for party planning. She's trying to flush us out, I said. See if we took the bait. Then let's give her a show, Liam said, his voice stronger. I'll keep playing along. Let her think everything's going according to her perfect plan. Are you sure? I asked. She'll make your life hell when this all comes out. She already has. He pulled out his phone and showed us his banking app. She's been siphoning money from my accounts. Small amounts, but it adds up. I thought I was going crazy, not remembering these transactions. Classic gaslighting, Zane muttered, adding the banking records to our evidence file. Another knock at the door. This time it was Dad, looking troubled. I followed you, he admitted as I let him in. After dinner, something felt off. I needed to know. He trailed off as he saw the screens, the evidence of his daughter's manipulation laid bare. Daddy, I started, but he held up a hand. Show me everything, he said. I need to know what my little girl has become. For the next hour, we walked him through it all. The surveillance, the blackmail, the carefully constructed web of lies. He didn't speak, just watched and listened, his face growing harder with each revelation. Finally, he stood up. Your mother can't know. Not yet. It would destroy her. She'll have to know eventually, I said. Yes, but not like this, not in pieces. He turned to Liam. The proposal, you'll go through with it? Liam nodded. One last performance. Good, let her have her perfect moment in the spotlight. Dad's voice was cold in a way I'd never heard before. It'll make the fall that much harder. As he left, Jayla pulled up the party plans on her tablet. We've got 1 week. Everything has to be perfect. It will be, I said, watching Liam scroll through more evidence of Ivy's betrayal. For once, Ivy's obsession with perfection is going to work against her. Zane started compiling the video we'd play at the party. You know she won't go down without a fight. Good, I said, touching the pendant that was still recording everything. Because neither will we. On the screen, security footage showed Ivy entering her perfect house, probably planning her perfect proposal, completely unaware that her carefully constructed house of cards was about to come crashing down. 1 week, 7 days until her perfect world shattered. I couldn't wait. The lighting needs to be softer here, Ivy directed, gesturing at the rooftops pergola. And those flowers, they're the wrong shade of pink. I specifically ordered coral blush, not salmon. I stood beside her, notebook in hand, playing the role of devoted sister while my pendant recorded everything. The party was 2 days away, and Ivy was in full control freak mode. I'll call the florist, I said, making a show of writing it down. Good. Ivy checked her phone. Oh, and make sure they deliver exactly at 3 p.m. Not earlier, not later. The timing has to be perfect. Everything will be perfect, I assured her, catching Jayla's eye across the room. She was arranging place cards, carefully following Ivy's precise instructions. It better be. Ivy lowered her voice. By the way, did you get that issue at work sorted out? The one about the missing client files? My head snapped up. I hadn't told anyone about the files that had mysteriously disappeared from my computer yesterday. Don't worry, she continued, smiling sweetly. I'm sure it'll all work out, though it does look a bit suspicious, doesn't it? Especially after that incident with the quarterly reports last month. Before I could respond, Liam arrived, right on schedule. Ivy's whole demeanor changed, softening into the perfect girlfriend. Baby, she cooed, rushing to kiss him. I've missed you so much. I watched Liam play his part, embracing her while his eyes remained cold. He'd spent the last few days discovering just how deep her manipulation went, including evidence that she'd sabotaged his previous relationship. The ring's ready, he whispered to me when Ivy stepped away to berate a caterer. Custom made to her exact specifications, just like she casually suggested. You didn't have to actually buy it, I said. Oh, but I did. His smile was grim. She's been checking the credit card statements. Had to make everything look perfect, remember? My phone buzzed. A text from Zane. Video's done. You need to see this now. Ivy? I called out. I need to check on the lighting company. Back in 30? Fine, but hurry back. We need to discuss the timing of the speeches. I found Zane in his car around the corner, laptop open. Watch this, he said, pressing play. The video started with Ivy's own surveillance footage, her speaking directly to her hidden cameras, rehearsing different versions of fake tears and emotional breakdowns. Then it cut to recordings of her threatening people, followed by the evidence of her financial manipulation, the sabotage, the carefully orchestrated schemes. It's perfect, I breathed. But how are we going to play it? She'll be watching everything. Already handled. Zane pulled out a small device. This will override any video input when activated. The AV team is on our side. Turns out Ivy threatened the manager's daughter last year. Of course she did. I checked the time. I should get back before she gets suspicious. Wait. Zane grabbed my arm. There's something else. Those missing files at your work? I traced the hack. She's planning to frame you for corporate espionage. My blood ran cold. When? The day after the party. She's got everything set up. Fake emails, doctored security footage, even a paper trail leading to an offshore account in your name. She's making sure she has a backup plan, I realized. If something goes wrong at the party, she'll destroy you completely. Zane's face was serious. Are you sure you want to go through with this? I thought about all the years of manipulation, the lives she'd ruined, the way she'd made me doubt my own sanity. More than ever, I said. But we need to move fast. Send everything about the corporate espionage setup to Dad. He knows people in cybersecurity who can help protect me. Back at the rooftop, Ivy was directing the placement of crystal champagne glasses with military precision. Everything okay with the lighting company? She asked, not looking up from her checklist. All sorted, I lied. Just like everything else will be. She finally looked at me, and for a moment I saw something flicker in her eyes. Doubt, maybe, or suspicion. You know I love you, right? She said softly. Everything I do, it's because I want what's best for you, for all of us. I wondered how many times she'd rehearsed that line in front of her hidden cameras. I know, I replied, matching her tone. That's what sisters are for, right? She hugged me, and I felt the USB drive in her pocket press against my hip, the one she'd found after we'd copied its contents. 2 more days, she whispered, and I couldn't tell if it was a promise or a threat. 2 more days, I agreed, touching my pendant. Everything will be perfect. And for once, I wasn't lying. It would be perfect, just not in the way Ivy imagined. You look stunning, darling, Mom gushed as Ivy twirled in her champagne-colored gown. The rooftop party was in full swing, fairy lights twinkling against the darkening sky. Everything's perfect, Ivy beamed, checking her reflection in a nearby window. Absolutely perfect. I caught Dad's eye across the room. He gave a subtle nod, confirmation that the cybersecurity team had blocked Ivy's attempt to frame me at work. One threat neutralized. 10 minutes until the speeches, Jayla announced, clipboard in hand. Should I start gathering everyone? Yes, perfect timing. Ivy smoothed her dress. Liam, baby, where are you? Liam appeared, champagne in hand, the ring box hidden in his jacket pocket. Right here, sweetheart. Ladies and gentlemen, the event coordinator's voice rang out. If you could all gather around the main area. I slipped away from the crowd, making my way to the AV booth where Zane waited. Ready? Everything's set, he confirmed, showing me the video queued up on his laptop. As soon as Liam takes a knee. Lexus, Ivy's voice cut through the murmur of the crowd. Where are you going? I need my maid of honor for the speeches. I turned, plastering on a smile. Just checking on the sound system. Coming. The crowd arranged themselves in a semicircle, just as Ivy had planned. Mom was already dabbing at her eyes, while Dad stood stoically beside her, his hand in his pocket where I knew he held a copy of all the evidence we'd gathered. Friends, family, Ivy began. her voice perfectly modulated for maximum emotional impact. I can't tell you how much it means to have you all here tonight. I watched her perform, noting how each gesture, each tremor in her voice, matched exactly what I'd seen her rehearse on her own surveillance footage. And especially my dear sister Lexis, she continued, reaching for my hand, who's been such a help planning this perfect evening. That's when I saw it, the glint in her eye, the slight squeeze of my hand that was just a bit too tight. She knew. Somehow, she knew. Actually, she said, her voice taking on a edge only I would recognize, I'd like to share something special, a video I've prepared. My heart stopped. She was going to beat us to the punch. But before she could continue, Liam stepped forward. If I could just interrupt for a moment. Ivy's face flickered with annoyance before smoothing into practiced delight. This wasn't part of her schedule. The proposal was supposed to come after her speech. Ivy, Liam began, reaching for the ring box. These past 2 years, I caught Zane's eye and gave a slight nod. Now or never. The screens around the rooftop flickered. Instead of the romantic montage Ivy had prepared, her own face appeared. Multiple versions of her practicing fake tears, rehearsing manipulative speeches. What? Ivy started, but her voice was drowned out by her own recorded words. Poor little Lexis, always so desperate for attention. Once I plant those files, her career will be over. The crowd gasped as scene after scene played out. Ivy threatening Liam, manipulating colleagues, plotting against family members. Turn it off, Ivy screamed, but her voice only added to the chaos as more revelations poured from the speakers. Is this true? Mom whispered, watching footage of Ivy gloating about ruining Uncle Mike's business. Every word, Dad said grimly, pulling out his phone. And there's more. The police are very interested in the corporate espionage attempt. Liam stepped back from Ivy, the ring box still in his hand. I think I'll be keeping this, he said quietly. You don't understand, Ivy said, her voice rising hysterically. This is all fake. Lexis is trying to ruin me because she's jealous. She's always been jealous. Really? I pulled out my pendant. Then I guess you won't mind explaining the cameras you planted in my house? The ones that stream directly to your private server? The color drained from Ivy's face as she recognized the pendant, identical to the ones she used for surveillance. I can explain, she started, but people were already backing away from her, murmuring, checking their phones as years of evidence began circulating through their social networks. Perfect timing, I said softly, echoing her favorite phrase. Wouldn't you say? Ivy lunged for me, all pretense of control finally shattering. You little... But Jayla and Liam caught her arms, holding her back as she screamed accusations and threats that only served to confirm everything the video had revealed. As security led her away, I heard her yell one last time, I did it all for you, to protect you from yourself. No, I called after her. You did it for you, and now everyone knows exactly who you are. The perfect party was in shambles, but as I looked around at the shocked faces of our family and friends, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: freedom. The truth, as it turned out, was the perfect revenge. The rooftop fell into stunned silence as security escorted Ivy to the elevator. Her perfect makeup was streaked with tears, her designer dress wrinkled from her struggle. Just before the doors closed, she locked eyes with me. You'll regret this, she hissed. You're nothing without me. Nothing. The elevator dinged shut, and chaos erupted. I knew something was wrong with those business tips, Uncle Mike said, his voice shaking. My whole company, my employees, we almost lost everything. The messages to my ex, Liam muttered, loosening his tie. She edited them, made it look like I was having an affair. More revelations poured out as people began comparing stories, years of manipulation unraveling in minutes. Mom collapsed into a chair, her face ashen. How could I not have seen it? My own daughter. She fooled all of us, Dad said, putting a hand on her shoulder. But it's over now. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your email, now. Zane, I called out, can you pull up my work email? He typed quickly, then swore under his breath. She had a dead man's switch. Look. The screen showed dozens of emails, sent automatically to everyone at my company. Doctored photos, fake documents, all painting me as unstable and dangerous. It's okay, Dad said quickly. We've got it covered. The cybersecurity team is already sending out evidence that these were fabricated. But the damage, I started. Will show exactly who Ivy is, Jayla cut in. Think about it. She just proved everything we showed was true. Another buzz, this time from my boss. Just got some interesting emails. Call me Monday. We need to talk about your sister's interference with the promotion review. See? Jayla smiled. Her backup plan just backfired. The party guests were starting to leave, murmuring in shocked clusters. Some stopped to hug me, others to share their own stories of Ivy's manipulation. The police want statements, Zane said, checking his phone. They're especially interested in the financial fraud angle with Liam's accounts. Liam pulled out the ring box and opened it. The diamond caught the fairy lights, sparkling innocently. $200,000, he said. That's how much she'd siphoned from my accounts to pay for this. Said it was my idea, that I'd insisted on getting her the perfect ring. What will you do with it? I asked. Sell it. Donate the money to a charity that helps victims of psychological abuse. He smiled grimly. Seems fitting. Mom suddenly stood up. The camera's in your house, she said, her voice breaking. She watched you sleep? Her own sister? Mom, no. She straightened her spine. No, I need to see everything. All of it. I need to understand what I allowed to happen. I'll show you, Dad said. But not tonight. Tonight, we all need to process this. As if on cue, my phone lit up with notifications. Ivy's social media was exploding as the video spread, her carefully curated image crumbling with each share and comment. She's posting, Zane warned, showing me his screen. Ivy's latest Instagram post was a masterpiece of manipulation. A tearful selfie with a long caption about being betrayed by her jealous sister, about how everything she'd done was out of love and concern for her family. Don't respond, Jayla advised. Let her dig herself deeper. She was right. Within minutes, comments were flooding in from people sharing their own experiences with Ivy's manipulation. Her perfect facade was cracking, and each desperate attempt to save it only revealed more truth. Ms. Peters? A police officer stepped onto the rooftop. We need to take your statement about the surveillance and financial fraud charges. As I followed the officer, Liam caught my arm. Thank you, he said quietly, for saving me from making the biggest mistake of my life. Thank you for being brave enough to help expose her. The officer led me to a quiet corner where I could see the whole rooftop, the scattered flowers, the abandoned champagne glasses, the remains of Ivy's perfect party. It looked like the aftermath of a storm, which in a way it was. Start from the beginning, the officer said, opening her notebook. Tell me everything. I touched the pendant around my neck, still recording, still gathering evidence, one last bit of insurance against whatever revenge Ivy might plan. It started with my cat, I began. She noticed the hidden cameras before I did. Above us, the fairy lights continued to twinkle, illuminating the wreckage of Ivy's perfect world. Somewhere in the city, she was probably already plotting her comeback, her revenge. But this time, I wasn't afraid. The truth was out, and no amount of perfect planning could put her lies back together again. She's requesting another family visit, Mom said, setting down her coffee cup. The morning sun streamed through my kitchen windows, catching Shadow as she lounged on the windowsill. I told her no. How are you holding up? I asked, watching my mother's face carefully. The past few weeks had aged her, but there was a new strength there, too. Better, now that I understand. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. The therapist says I need to stop blaming myself for not seeing it sooner. My phone buzzed. Another email from the prosecutor's office. More victims had come forward, strengthening the case against Ivy. The charges now included fraud, stalking, blackmail, and corporate espionage. Have you read her letter? Mom asked. I shook my head. The thick envelope sat unopened on my counter. Ivy's perfect handwriting stark against the white paper. Not interested in more manipulation. Good. Mom's voice was firm. The therapist says maintaining boundaries is crucial. The doorbell rang. Shadow's ears perked up, but she didn't hiss. A good sign. It was Jayla and Zane, right on time for our weekly breakfast. Uncle Mike's business is recovering, Jayla announced as she set down a bag of fresh bagels. The investors are back on board now that they know the truth about those anonymous tips. And Liam? I asked. Doing well. The charity auction for the ring raised twice its value. Zane pulled out his laptop. But that's not why we're here. Look at this. He showed us a series of emails he'd recovered. Correspondence between Ivy and various people she'd manipulated over the years. Each message revealed another layer of her schemes. She had backup plans for her backup plans, Jayla said, shaking her head. But they're all falling apart now. My phone rang, Dad's ringtone. Hey, what's up? Just left the police station, he said. They found her storage unit. You need to see this. An hour later, we stood in a climate-controlled storage space, staring at walls lined with filing cabinets and computer servers. Her command center, Zane whispered, running his hands over the equipment. This is where she monitored everything, everyone. Detective Rivera moved through the space, taking photos. This is extensive. She kept records of every manipulation, every scheme, like she was proud of it. She was, I said, opening a drawer labeled Lexus Ongoing Projects. Inside were detailed plans for my life, career sabotage, relationship interference, even a schedule for when to trigger certain insecurities. We found similar files on dozens of people, Rivera said. She had plans within plans, contingencies for every scenario. She paused. Except this one. She never planned for exposure. Back at my place, Mom picked up Ivy's unopened letter. Maybe we should burn it, she suggested. Make a ceremony of it. Wait, Zane said, running a small device over the envelope. Just checking. Yeah, there's something electronic inside, some kind of recording device. We all stared at the letter. Even now, even after everything, she was still trying to gather intelligence, still trying to maintain control. That's it, Mom said, her voice breaking. That's the last straw. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number we all recognized. Ivy's lawyer. This is Sylvia. Tell my daughter I'm done. No more visits, no more letters, no more chances. She made her choices. The silence after she hung up felt like a weight lifting. I'm proud of you, Mom, I said softly. She smiled, tears in her eyes. I'm proud of you, too, for being strong enough to stand up to her, to protect others from what she did to you. Shadow jumped onto the table, purring loudly, making us all laugh. Smart cat, Jayla said. She knew something was wrong from the start. Speaking of starts, Zane added, your promotion came through, the one Ivy tried to block. I nodded. First day as department head tomorrow. No more looking over my shoulder, no more doubting myself. To new beginnings, Mom said, raising her coffee cup, and to the truth, no matter how hard it is to face. We all raised our cups, even as my phone buzzed with another update from the prosecutor's office. But for the first time, I didn't feel any anxiety about what Ivy might do next. Her perfect plans, her careful manipulations, her web of lies, it had all crumbled in the face of simple truth. Shadow stretched in the sunlight, completely at ease. No more hidden cameras, no more secrets, no more perfect lies. Just real life, with all its beautiful imperfections. And that was better than perfect. That was freedom.